Okay, I think we're live now. Um, hi everyone. This is Cher from Coding Bee and Dewan, and we're just gonna carry on from what we've been doing it, in the previous session, which is to set up a MacBook desktop
Right.
for software development.
Hello,
So.
everyone.
So yeah, so we're still new to this, so we're just finding our way with live streaming, and yeah, I think the last time the way the last thing we did before we went offline uh, was starting to install Docker, which is a container technology. So I think today we're gonna basically make a start on that. So let me open up a new window and oh yeah, let me make put a note down. So hold on, let me just file new note. Okay. So Docker is a container technology software. It's used for running containers on your machine, and there's actually Docker is something that's been around. Oh, hold on, let me just change that to containers. So Docker became really popular back around 2014, I think. I'm not quite sure of the year, but Docker is basically a software that made it easy to start and stop and create containers. So before then, the actual technology that allowed containers possible did exist, but there wasn't any real software at that to make it easy to work with. And then Docker came along, and then um, they've actually made it usable for the wider audience. So a lot more people are using Docker. And yeah, in terms of Docker, we don't really need. I won't go into too much detail in this video about the ben what's what how what why people use Docker. That'll come later. For now, I'm just going to focus on installing it and just get like a hello world example working. The other there's since Docker became popular, there's been a few other competitors. One of them is Podman, and oh, it's auto-corrected that. And another one is called Rancher. So Podman is basically our base our is a clone of Docker, so it works very similar to Docker, and I think the same goes with Rancher. I haven't used Rancher myself actually. I've only used Docker and Podman in my day-to-day work. But out of Podman and Docker, Docker is the more easier option to use. I found it much more easier to work with. Podman just seemed quite a little um, um, it, not a little rough around the edges, shall I say? Okay, so let's go ahead with installing Docker. So I'm just gonna go into Docker. Uh, and it shows the pricing. And this is the unfortunate thing. Docker used to be free, but now they've started charging people. But if it's just for just people who are new to Docker or people who are just studying, then it's that this is a great choice. So I'll go ahead with um, installing it. So I think I have to sign in first. And I'm not sure if I could sign in with GitHub. Okay. Can't remember if I've got a login detail. So I'm just gonna log in with GitHub. Uh, Authorize Docker Inc. let me just do this offline in case it starts showing passwords or anything. So, uh, I'm pretty sure I have a existing Docker login. So I'm just gonna uh, see if I could track that down. Continue. I wish I'd logged in beforehand. I totally forgot. Uh, yeah, this is just seeing if the password reset option give me give lets me sort out the password, but it's not showing up yet. Hold on a second. Okay, I don't think I've got a password, so let me just okay, so I've just logged in now, and I'll just bring up that screen back down here. And now download the desktop application Mac. Okay, so um I'm Mac with Apple chip. I've got a newer MacBook, so I'll go ahead with that and go ahead with installing that. Okay, and now start it up. Ah, it did show up. I'm just a bit too quick. Docker is an app downloaded from there. Yep. Uh, accept. You re okay, yep, finished. And this is prompting me to enter my Apple my MacBook password. So just do that. Okay, didn't think I would need to do that. I thought I would to run Apple Silicon. Oh, Rosetta enables Intel-based features to run. Reopening application after required to start Rosetta. Okay, so this thing about Rosetta is talking about it's it's basically it's basically a software that I think is installed on the newer Macs that lets you run software that's designed for running on the older Intel-based Macs. So I'll go ahead with installing that. Hopefully, it won't ask me to restart my machine. Okay, So that seems to have worked. Then let's go with sign in, open Docker. Okay. What's my role? Um, Let me see. What's the thing? I'm actually do all sorts with Docker. So I think I'll go with DevOps specialist because I'm a jack of all trades pretty much. Um, Actually, I could have gone for something else, but it's all right. Hobby project. We use Docker for. Yep, hobby projects. Learning or teaching, testing application, deploying, debugging other. Uh, yep, that's it. And let me just close these up. Okay, so I think that's the installation done. Now, as part of the installation, okay, so let me just clear this. Let me just close this and reopen it. So, one C tips of the day, no. And let me just make this bigger. Uh, PWT, okay. Um, so what I want to see is, good. So as part of installing the application, install the Docker command line. So if I just do Docker help, it outputs all of this stuff. And I just want to do a very quick test to confirm Docker is working. So let me open up um, Docker Hub. So Docker Hub is like a registry. It's like a place that has lots and lots of different applications available to try out inside a Docker container. I'm just gonna quickly try a very basic. Okay, Nginx. So Nginx is a web server software. So that
Mhm.
so I'll give that a try. And let's see if it's got a quick. Okay, here we go. Docker run.
So, is it possible to install Docker in Windows computer or maybe Linux-based computer?
Yes. So Docker works for Windows, Linux, and out of everything, Docker is best suited for Linux machines. So that means, and the problem with Unix, sorry,
Mhm.
the problem with Mac OS is that
Mhm.
Mac OS is built on top of Unix.
Mhm.
So when you install Docker on a Mac OS, um, there is some extra stuff Docker has to do to get it working on your Mac OS. It's all hidden away, but
Got
basically,
it.
I think, and I'm not sure if it's still the case, but I think it starts up a small VM, a small mini virtual machine inside your MacBook. And
Mhm.
then from that MacBook, it then that small VM is a Linux-based VM, and from that Linux-based VM, it gives you, it builds the containers and runs those containers inside that VM. Whereas on Linux, it doesn't need to do that. It's already got the Linux operating system, so it just runs it. And Windows, I think, has a similar approach with MacBooks. They also need to have a small Linux machine running inside, virtual machine running inside the Windows machine, and that's what runs the Docker containers.
Got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so here is to it's I wanted to try this out, and hopefully this will be quite straightforward. I'm just saying places doc building Docker run. Okay, so I think what this run command does, it downloads the image from this. Oh no, hold on. Hosting some static website. Oh no, here. I want to pull down the image. So let's go here and do clear. Hold on, what does this say? Always a control sequence attempt to allow this feature. Allow, I guess. Okay. So so oh yeah, just before I forget. So I run all these commands and my screen looks really messy. So what I do to make it nice and clean again is type the word clear, press enter, and it gives me a fresh thing to start
Got
with. So let me just make that full screen, make the screen size bigger. Okay, and okay, good. Now clear again. Okay, so Docker pull him. So this command will end up downloading this image, this Docker image. So let me just see if I do Docker. I think ls image. Oh no, that didn't work. Maybe Docker image ls. Ah, there we go. So basically, I'm saying Docker image ls. Ls means list. So I'm telling it to show me a list of all the images. There's just one image here. I don't want to use that one. So I'm going to download this image, Nginx. So it's going to pull it down. So it's downloading. View. Um, what's next? Okay, so that is finished downloading. Now, if I rerun this command, docker image ls, you'll see that I've got a second item in the list. So yeah, are you with me so far, Dewan?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, and it shows that it's 193 MB, 6 days old, this image. Now I just want to try running it, actually using it. So I'm just gonna see this command.
Okay.
So I think when I run this command, it's going to create a container from that image. So Docker contain. So if I do Docker container ls, I've just got. Oh, I already got an image running. Okay, so that's one image. So but I don't want to use that. So I want to use my one. So I think if I do Docker stop and specify the container ID, let me just make the screen a bit smaller. Okay, just made it a bit smaller. Docker stop, and I could specify this name. Or I could have used the other name here at the end, but I'm just going to stick with this name, this ID, Docker stop. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
if I do Docker container ls, now it's not showing anything. So I've stopped my container, so that's why it's not showing. Now let's start up my new container. So I'm going to run this command. It's got a flag called minus minus name followed by a name of the a name I want to give it,
Right.
and I think it specifies here that I want to use this particular image. So I'll go ahead and do
So
this.
this kind of stuffs will be like happening while I make a website.
Yeah. So what often happens is like, okay, so say for example you made a HTML CSS site, like
Got
a static website. So you've written some HTML code, as well as CSS, as well as images and all that. So it's a very basic static website. Then
Yeah.
you could, and say you've got all that code somewhere on your machine. Then what
Yeah.
this is doing is that, can you see this minus V here?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
means that I think is short for volume, and that says,
Right.
okay, take the content from here and
Got
put
it.
it onto this location inside
Um.
the container, and that's what will end up getting hosted on the container. That's what Nginx will end up displaying. So
Got it.
let me just do this. So it says some content here. So what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to make a new directory. So cd. Okay, so I'm going to make a new directory called tmp. This is temp, my way of saying temp. This is just a playground area. So if I do ls minus l, here is the temp folder. So I go into that, ls, okay, and it's an empty folder. And if I do pwd, that's what my thing is. So, oh, actually, make a new folder in here, call it
Yeah.
nginx, or actually my website.
Got it.
Okay, ls minus l. Okay, cd into my website. Okay, now if I do pwd, here we go. So that's my thing, and I don't have anything here. So let's do um, I'm just going to write a quick index.html file here, and I'm uh, do hello coding B. Okay, so I've just created a very simple file here called hello coding B. So if I go up again, ls. Okay, so I'm back in my home directory. So my home directory is pwd. It's just uses share, so that's it. So now let's take this example, copy that,
And paste it
paste
here.
that, yep, and change this bit. So this bit needs to be that because that's where I'll put my website. So, but by the way, I'll be very surprised if this works on the first attempt. So it might be a few attempts before we get this working. So let's try it. Okay, so it's giving me a really long ID, but if I just do Docker container ls, ah, typo. Okay, so it looks like it started up, and it started up using port 80. So let's now go to my machine's port 80. So to do that, I have to do localhost 80. Are you familiar with this, Dewan, using
Nope.
localhost? Huh?
Nope.
Okay, so localhost is just a standard way to access any kind of service running on your local machine. Your local
Got it.
machine is always called localhost. So
Got it.
let's see if this works. Yep, so that did not work. Okay. Now I'm pretty sure I know why, and that is that this is it's this is saying this container is listening on port 88, sorry, 80 here.
Yeah.
It's not my machine. My machine isn't listening on any port. This is inside the container. So I need to
Got it.
tell my MacBook to
That it's in 80.
yeah, to access this thing. So
Got it.
the way it's done in Docker is a thing called port mapping. So okay, let me just do port mapping then. I think that's what I'm looking for. Google's just helping me out here. I'm just looking for a particular example. Here we go. This. So if here it says 8080 colon 80. So what this means is that I'm telling Docker. So actually, let me stop this container. So Docker container, Docker stop um, engine X. Okay, so if I just do Docker container ls, nothing is running. Now if I add that extra bit in, let me just add that bit in. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Maybe here. Okay, so this is telling Docker to start this container and also tell my MacBook to start listening on port 8080. Okay, and if it finds if it receives any traffic any requests on this port 8080, then forward that request onto port 80 of the container, and the container will then do its thing. The container will respond to that request and send traffic back, send a response. So let's try it now. Okay. The container name summon Nginx is already in use. Okay. So if I just do Docker, so it's basically complaining that this already exists. It's this summon Nginx. So what? Even though even though it's not listed here, and I think I know why. I think if I do -a for all, I might be wrong about this. This is me just guessing. Yep, here we go. So what's happened here is that these contain -a means is show me all containers that are running and stopped, everything. And it shows here that I've got two containers here already, these two, and one of them has this name, so I can't create another container and give it the same name. So what I can then do is docker stop. Oh no, I'm just trying to remember. Maybe docker rm, this one. I think that's okay. This that looks like it's worked. And Docker container ls. Okay, -a. Okay, now it's just that one left. Let me just go ahead and delete this as well because I'm not planning to use it. So if I keep it there, it's just going to take up space. Okay, there, good. Okay. Oh, so that's all tidied up, and now let's run my command again. Remember, when I ran it last time here, it gave me an error message, and which is that it's already in use. So we shouldn't get that error message anymore, even though we're calling it by the same name. So let's try that again. Okay, now it has worked. Now if I do docker container ls, here we can say it started 5 seconds ago. It's doing port forwarding. So I think 000, all that means all traffic um, on port 8080 gets sent to this. So if I make a request to my MacBook on this particular port, then the request gets forwarded to this port on the container. And the reason it's this port is because this particular container has been configured to use that port by default. So now let's give that another go. So localhost and do 8080. And there we go. So we've got the hello world example working. So that basically just shows that, okay, Docker has been set up, it's working, it's running. And if I then stop the container, so if I just do docker stop, okay, once it's stopped, yeah, now the page has disappeared. So this, I hope this gives you a a small example of the power Docker can give you in terms of software development, because it means that you don't. Before we had Docker, if people wanted to test things out, they might have needed to install Nginx directly on their MacBook, and Nginx, when you install Nginx on your MacBook, it ends up behind the scenes will end up installing lots and lots of files and folders all over your MacBook in different places. So if you wanted to uninstall it again, it's just a pain to uninstall because you need to track down everything it's everywhere on your MacBook and then uninstall it. Whereas with Docker, it means that all that configuration that's there. Oh, oh, hold on.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, because I had some interruption. Yeah, I saw that you are trying to make a local host, trying to make a local host for the for a website HTML file, and then you went to your you went using the 80 maybe, yeah, 80 address. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, yeah, I see. Yeah, got it, got it, got it, got it. So I can use my machine as like a server for a host as a, for like the website. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Got it. Hmm. Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. Yeah, yeah. Got it. Got it. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Root. Nope. Hmm. Got it. Hmm? Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. I'm available. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. yeah, got, got it. Yeah. So you can unzip using some like code command. Yeah, yeah. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. So where I can learn all this command you used as a beginner? Okay, got it. Got it. Mm, got it. Yeah. Mm, yeah. 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 Got it. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, yeah. It was interesting and good, and I guess everyone will be benefited with me. And the, if there is someone asking question, they might ask the question in comment. We will be answering them in the next video. Yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being with us.